Jay, do you think is tonight for some of the players making a push potentially their last shot, or are you hoping to give everyone possibly another shot on Friday?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. I think important game for a lot of people here tonight. It's we're getting to the point like where exhibition games are really running out here. So the opportunity to make a continued impression for some, it's running out. So you got to make good on it. I think that's a good thing. Usually in those type of situations, you see people's best, and that's what we're going to need tonight.
If you're playing a lineup that has a lot of kids in it that are trying to make an impression, you guys were on the other side of that coin just a little while ago, guys. Going into what kind of do you expect those kids? They're going to play hard tonight.
Yeah, I haven't looked at their lineup. For us in preseason, we spend more time worrying about us and what's happening in our team game. But typically, if you look at younger lineups in the preseason, you know what you're going to get. There's going to be a motivated group on the other side that's looking to make an impression, just like going back to Gene's question there. But again, our focus as a coaching staff, our focus as a team is on us and making sure we're doing the necessary things to make sure we're ready come opening night.
How does the dynamic, there's obvious things about only having a 21-man roster. You clearly can only keep 21 guys. I get that. But how does it change camp? Like, there's less chance. There's guys that don't have chances that would have had a chance. What's it like being the coach of a team that only gets to pick 21 guys?
Well, we said this the other day jokingly, but it's true, is these are the times we live in. And so we don't worry about only being able to pick 21 guys. We just want to make sure we pick the right 21 guys and be creative in how we can get what we need based on the times that we're living in. And I think for us, it's about putting a roster on the ice that we feel most comfortable about. You're right, though. It's not a typical year where you might carry 2 extra forwards and you can mix people in and out, but it is what it is. Those are just things that we make sure that we're trying to make the best decision possible.
Hey, do you sympathize with what those players are going through? Because these guys, there's 23-man roster. You're carrying guys that are making NHL salaries that are here, that are stable. You can bring wives and kids and stuff like that, and now they're kind of in limbo. Do you kind of see what they're?
Yeah, totally see that. But it is what it is. It's. You can look at it as a constraint, or you can look at it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to carry a lean group, so not a ton of people around. You can look at it as an opportunity that people are going to get a nightly opportunity to make continued impressions, but at the same time we can't be afraid to see what we see either. And if things aren't working properly, then if you have to move people in and out, you got to move people in and out. And that goes back to Gene's initial question is, you know what, if someone doesn't make our opening night roster, it's okay. It's okay, because what they're fighting for right now might just be the opportunity to be that first call up, should and when that arrive.
In some circumstances, though, and I'm thinking about a player like Lavoie, you haven't seen him at the NHL level, so you're prognosticating what he might be capable of, but you also potentially risk losing him if he doesn't end up making the team. So how tricky is that dynamic with a guy that doesn't have the body of work at the NHL level yet to make a decision on?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all part of the dynamic. You nailed it by calling it that. I think we're not the only team maybe in that situation. It happens all around the league, especially at this time of the year. I think part of training camp is you're collecting as much information on people as you can. So you put them in different types of situations, see how they handle it. And then when the time comes to make a decision based on the constraints of a 21-man roster, you want to make sure you're making the right decision. With that decision are consequences. That is the way our league is set up. So, I don't think for us we're we're overly concerned about any type of end game scenario right now. We're just concerned about making sure we're paying attention to what the players are showing us so that we can make the best decisions possible, and then usually that other stuff plays itself out.
So Jay, does the coach sit down with the general manager right towards the end and say, okay, I like this guy, and the general manager says, sorry, yes, we have to put him on waivers to send him down, and I don't want to do that. So is there some give and take there?
Well, the way we operate, and I have a great relationship with Ken, is I try and stay in my lane. My lane is to get the most out of the people that are in front of me. But now saying that, when I'm asked a question, I'm unafraid to give my opinion in terms of what the coaching staff is seeing, how we rate people, all that kind of stuff, so that we can make collectively the best decision possible as an organization. But I'm very clear that my job as a head coach in the NHL is to make sure that I'm getting the most out of the people that are in front of me.
How's he looking? We're beating around the bush a little bit on the ball. What have you seen, and is he making this thing close?
Was that this whole thing was beating around the bush? Okay. I think Raf has had some good moments here in training camp. Obviously, that goal that he scored in Vancouver highlights one of his skill set, or a piece of his skill set. But I've seen some growth in some other areas that we've asked him to take a step in. And then there's been growing moments. Bob asked the other day a question, and he started out by saying he's only played in one preseason game prior to this camp. He was hurt last camp. So he's kind of figuring some things out at this level too, even if it's just the preseason. How has he looked? He's still here. He's continuing to get better every day, and he is fighting for a spot on the Edmonton Oilers, and that's what we want to see.
You made an in-game adjustment the other night. What did you think of Holloway and Lavoie with Connor in the third period when you kind of threw those two guys a bit of a bone?
Well, we were thinking in between periods was we didn't feel it was our best total team game. And sometimes you get in that situation, you get the blender out or the bingo balls, and you experiment. And I thought on the first shift after we killed the penalty in the third period, we scored a goal. Connor scored a great goal, and that helped lift us to a win. I thought that was a good sign that our group responded when the coaching staff kind of got the blender out.
So when Lavoie's playing with Connor passes the puck to him right in the slot, and he passes it back to Connor. Are you thinking as a coach, same old, the young player doesn't want to look, so he passes it back?
Well, it's probably not the first guy that's deferred to Connor McDavid in terms of giving him the puck back. I think that's a dynamic in every NHL dressing room. But in the end, we found a way to score a goal on that shift, and that's a credit to all involved.
What have you noticed from Evan Bouchard at camp?
Evan Bouchard? I think I see someone who's confident. We're going to look for him to take a step here on our power play. Our power play is going to dress tonight. And our power play, in fairness to it, hasn't spent a whole lot of time together or had a whole lot of work together yet through preseason. So tonight's an opportunity for that group to be together and to work on some things and get good reps versus a very good penalty killing team in Calgary.
How do you foresee his, playing with Nurse, if that continues on? How do you foresee his usage, and is there anything, maybe in the defensive zone, or as he works out some kinks as a younger player? What would you like to see as he kind of evolves his game here?
Well, one of the best times I've witnessed Evan play hockey has been in the playoffs, and that's the playoffs at last year, the playoffs the year before, and the playoffs in the American League. I think that type of urgency in all three zones was apparent to me, and his good play was apparent in all three zones, and that's what we expect out of him as he continues to take a bigger slice of the pie here as we step into the 23-24 season. We expect that type of urgency right from game one through a long playoff run, and that's incumbent upon him to continue to work at his game to make sure he's prepared so that he does have that effect in all three zones.
Some difference between the way Ekholm plays the game and the way Darnell plays the game if he's going to play with one of those two
Well, yeah, certainly. They're two completely different players. They both have their own attributes. And I think part of playing together is finding a chemistry. You saw last year when Ekholm and Bouchard were together, they found chemistry immediately. Darnell and Bush are working on finding some chemistry here during the preseason. We've played them a good amount together, so they're starting to have a comfort level, and we like what we see so far.
Whether it's tonight or Friday, do you need a full dress rehearsal, or is this enough of a veteran group where that really isn't necessary?
Well, yeah, I think perfect world scenario, you want to find a full dress rehearsal, but we don't live in a perfect world, and sometimes there's nicks and bumps and bruises and whatnot, and you got to play the hand that you're dealt with. And in the end, our team will be ready come opening night. How we get there is how we get there, but we'll be ready opening night. Thanks.